Hey everyone, and welcome. We're about to dig into something pretty wild. How the physical world around you, yeah, your desk, the noise in the room, even the air you're breathing, is secretly pulling the strings on your ability to think, focus, and just get things done.
You totally know this feeling, right? You sit down to work, but that pile of papers you can see out of the corner of your eye, the faint sound of a conversation from another room, the glare from your screen, it all feels like static. It's like your brain is wading through mud just to finish one simple task. Well, that struggle isn't in your head. It's very, very real, and it's all happening on a neurological level.
All right, let's get into it. To really get why our environment has such a powerful grip on us, we've got to first look at what's actually happening inside our brains when our surroundings get a little too chaotic. Okay, so think of your brain's working memory like a computer's RAM. It only has a certain amount of processing power at any given moment. Every single thing you see, hear, or feel, it uses up a little piece of that RAM. So when your environment is just filled with distractions, you're maxing out your mental bandwidth on stuff that doesn't matter, leaving almost nothing for the task you actually want to focus on. Now, what's really cool is how our brain deals with all this incoming information. It's not just a random flood of data. It's a highly organized, but, easily overwhelmed pipeline. So here's how it works, in a nutshell. All the sensory stuff from your environment, what you see, what you hear, goes into the thalamus. You can think of it like the brain's mailroom, sorting everything. From there, it sends the important mail upstairs to the prefrontal cortex, which is like the CEO. That's the part of your brain that handles the big stuff, decision-making, planning, and staying focused. And this right here perfectly shows the two states that pipeline can be in. On the left, in a calm, organized space, information flows smoothly. The CEO is happy, and you can get into that awesome flow state. But on the right, in a cluttered, noisy room, you get an information traffic jam. The mailroom is overwhelmed, the CEO gets stressed out, and your focus and memory just tank. So when the CEO, your prefrontal cortex, gets too stressed out by all that environmental noise, it basically just gives up trying to focus on your work. And when that happens, this other network, called the default mode network, takes over. This is literally your brain's daydreaming mode. It's the reason why, when you're in a chaotic cafe, your mind suddenly wanders to what you're going to have for dinner. Your brain's focus has just checked out. So the big question is, what specific things are actually causing this overload? Let's break down two of the biggest culprits, the stuff we see and the stuff we hear. So it turns out that messy desk isn't just a physical problem, it is absolutely a neurological one. As researchers at Yale recently pointed out, all that clutter in your peripheral vision creates this constant low-level distraction that your brain has to actively work to ignore. The scientific term for this is visual crowding. It's the reason you can't really read words out of the corner of your eye. Every single object in your periphery is competing for the same brain power, which makes it harder for your brain to process what's right in front of you. Every pen, every piece of paper, every coffee mug, it's a tiny little drain on your mental energy. Now let's talk about sound. This is really important. Not all noise is bad. A consistent ambient sound, like a fan or rain, can actually help you focus. But the absolute focus killer is what scientists call irrelevant speech. Hearing background conversations, a TV, or music with lyrics is uniquely distracting because it forces your brain to process a competing stream of words. It literally fights with your own inner voice for attention. But it's not just what we see and hear, right? Let's dive into the invisible forces in our environment that have a massive impact on how well we can think: light, air, and even temperature. Natural daylight is amazing for keeping our internal body clock on track, making us alert and focused during the day. The problem is all the excessive blue light we get at night from our screens. It tricks our brain into thinking it's still daytime, and that stops the release of melatonin, the hormone that tells our body it's time to sleep. This directly sabotages our sleep, leaving us foggy and unfocused the entire next day. And get this, the impact of air quality is just staggering. Look at this chart. This data is from a study on student performance. At 600 parts per million of CO2, which is like a room with a fresh breeze, performance is great. But as the room gets stuffy and CO2 levels rise, cognitive scores absolutely plummet. Poor ventilation literally makes it harder to think clearly. And it's not just the air you breathe. That same study found there's a cognitive sweet spot for temperature. If the room is too hot or too cold, performance drops. And why is that? Because your brain has to spend precious energy just trying to cool you down or warm you up.
leaving a lot less power for actual thinking.
Okay, so we've identified the enemies of focus: visual clutter, irrelevant speech, bad lighting, and stale air. But here's the good news: you are not powerless. You can absolutely fight back. So let's talk about how you can design a truly brain-friendly environment.
So here it is, your simple 4-step toolkit for creating a high-performance zone. Each one of these steps directly pushes back against those cognitive stressors we've been talking about, freeing up that precious mental RAM for what you actually want to do.
So what does this actually look like? Step 1, just clear your desk of everything that isn't essential for what you're doing right now. Step 2, noise-canceling headphones are a total game changer for blocking out speech. For light, try to get as much natural daylight as possible, and definitely use those night mode settings on your devices in the evening. And finally, for air, just cracking a window for a few minutes can make a world of difference.
If you take away one thing, let it be this. You are not just at the mercy of your brain's limitations. By being intentional about your surroundings, you can literally lower your cognitive load and unlock a whole new level of focus and clarity. You can change your mental state by changing your physical one.
So, I'll leave you with a question. Based on everything we just covered, what is the single, simplest change you can make to your space right now? Don't try to do everything at once. Just pick one thing, give it a try, and see what happens. Thanks for tuning in.